The following is a production of CPRundown.com. The views and opinions expressed by the host of this podcast are those of the individual and not of any affiliated companies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast covering the Cedar Fair Entertainment Company, the amusement industry, and the business of fun. Here are your hosts, Karsten Anderson, Evan Schultz, and Kyle Hu.
Yeah, and we're back. Evan,
You're back.
You're back. I'm back. Kyle, unfortunately, is still MIA. You know, he's got family things that are going on right now. He is actually up here in Ohio, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I know that I'm really bad at this whole like transition thing because like we talk about that, and I'm like, and we're back. And then you and Kyle both, I listened to the episode multiple times last week because I didn't have any power. But you're like, hey, yeah, welcome to the Rundown on Fun, where we have all your cool, loving updates on Six Flags parks and Legacy Cedar Fair parks, and I'm just like,
and everything
hi,
to do with fun.
Hello. and everything to do with fun. We are working behind the scenes per se to get Justin, our awesome announcer, to start a new one of those. We were just trying to come up with I was talking with Kyle. He's actually up here because he had there was a death in the family, and he's up here in Ohio a little earlier than what he was wanting to be. So he was able to go to Cedar Point. We were able to chat a little bit, and we were like, yeah, we need to come up with a script so Justin can, and Justin's like, I'll do stuff for the holidays too. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, it'd be really funny if like there's like a jingle bell like in the background, like, ho ho ho.
Justin wants to be part of this so bad, but yeah, he doesn't want to actually be part of it.
Right. Well, the thing is like, obviously, a little behind the curtain. Yeah, the tornadoes were crazy last week. There was 2 tornadoes that literally came through my city, which is
across your street, didn't it?
Yeah. A little open here. I was driving, and all of a sudden a tornado warning was going off on my radio. My phone was going off and was like going like crazy, because I turn off all of like all the alerts and everything except for like government like major announcements and weather announcements, things like that. So I'm driving, and all of a sudden I'm like it just got like from like, it was like 4:00. I'm like, it just went from like 4:00 like sunlight to like nighttime dark, and I'm like, I don't think this is good. And I'm driving, and I'm seeing like this one sign or whatever, and I just see like the sign shaking like I've never seen a sign shake before. It was a speed limit sign. I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then all of a sudden I saw the trees and they started bending backwards, and I'm like, this is a tornado I'm going through right now. And unfortunately, I was like, I think if you're like supposedly driving in the middle of nowhere, I thought you're supposed to like get out of the car or something and like go lay down in the field or something. There was no ditch. There was no nothing. So I was like, So I'm just going to stay in my car. I stayed in my car, and my car was literally shaking. So like if you and I, Evan, were on the side of each side of my car, and it would shake back and forth like super fast, like, like if you're goofing around, that's literally how it was. It was so crazy. It was the craziest thing ever. So long story short, we were out of power for like 5 days, lost all the food in the fridge and everything like that. Shout out to David for coming through and actually able to loan me one of his generators and things like that. So we were able to charge our cell phones without having to keep turning on our cars and trying to make everything work and everything. It was just a mess. So I'm happy to be back. Evan, you did a great job last week.
I'm happy to not be talking to nobody.
Yeah. No, you were like, yeah, so that's about it. And, and so, no, you did a great job. I'm
going to go start my own podcast.
Yeah. Evan's Takes.
Yeah. It's a short 20-minute episode each week. If you only care about my opinions.
So anyway, we're going to just jump right into it. So,
well, I didn't have a Top Thrill 2 update last week because I don't know how to do it. So the floor is yours.
No, I thought you did a great job. I was like, "Ooh, what's the Top Thrill 2 update?" Because I had no power and I was just listening to the,
nothing. Nothing. There legitimately last week was nothing.
Yeah. Well,
but this week
there is a little bit of an update this week, not officially from the park. We're still waiting to see, what happens, but it's good to see that they are continuing. Obviously, like Tony said, they're continuing to work on the ride. And we see that when we go to the park and we see whoever climbing all around the train, the silver train and things like that. I think I saw on like Saturday that Silver Train was almost like trainless. It was almost like a bear.
I think there was like 2 seats left on it.
Yeah, it was very weird. And I was like, in my head, I was like, that'd be kind of cool to see that launch without any seats or a floor. And I'm like, that'd be interesting if they're going to do that. I don't know if they did that. They might have, they might not have. I mean, we're not at the park.
I don't think it's tested recently.
Right. I mean, I feel like if it would have, we would have saw something on Twitter, but anyway, so, and then a few days later, now the seats are back and things are back in place.
There's new additions to the train. There's stabilizers or something going down the middle of the train. And the seats are, each row, the seats are connected to each other now for some reason.
Yeah. So again, they're working on it. We have no idea. It's nice to see that, they're continuing to work on it. It's not just, talk. And we've always said this, these are prototype trains. We haven't really talked about that, but these are prototype trains. And so, yeah, what else are you going to say?
Prototype.
The prototype. So, the thing is it's nice to see that the park is, like
they still haven't thrown in the towel.
Like they haven't like the parks, the Legacy Six Flags parks down, what is it? Six Flags Over Georgia for their water coaster
and Great Adventure.
And then also which one was the Six Flags Great Adventure, right? Yeah. And they came out yesterday, I think. The days run together. It was either yesterday or the day before. They came out and said, hey, those rides are not going to be open because they're still not even actually done. Those rides aren't going to be open until 2025. So we still haven't gotten an announcement for Top Thrill 2. So it still is giving me hope I'm still saying it'd be freaking awesome if they could say, by the way, Top Thrill 2 is going to be open for Hollow Weekends. By the way, Hollow Weekends currently, as we're recording on a Thursday night, I don't know what it'll be on Saturday. I don't want to math right now. But anyway, Thursday night currently, 28
I'll
days.
do that for you, buddy. So as 28 days as we record. So as you guys listen, be 26 days.
Okay, fair. -2. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just, So anyway, math is not my strong suit, but
Preston is not a math major, everybody.
No.
That's why you run CP Rundown.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Again, Cedar Point and Zamperla are still working on Top Thrill 2. That's the biggest update that I have. I will be at the park tomorrow. I'm curious to see what other changes and things like that are going on in the area and stuff. But I can't wait to hang out with you, Evan, hopefully, and we'll be able to do Boardwalk Nights because unfortunately, that's the 18th is the last day. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you do it because it's freaking awesome. And there was someone, I think it was someone random that like isn't a crazy Cedar Point like Nazi fan, and they were like, we got to do they got to do Boardwalk Nights, and they were telling me all about it, and they're like, dude, that was awesome. I was like, I told you it. I'm like, you just got to be there and be in it and just immerse yourself in it.
It's the perfect event for people that aren't coaster enthusiasts to draw them into the park.
Yeah. It really is. And, just seeing all that stuff and everything. And,
there's a lot going on.
There is definitely a lot going on. Evan, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what's coming up to an end? I know I kind of spoiled the Boardwalk Nights is coming up here.
Well, I was going to say with Boardwalk Nights, I kind of feel bad because I brought my mom up to see it for her, probably her only time. And we timed it so poorly. We saw the cavalcade.
Okay.
And then we went and ate at Grand Pavilion thinking, okay, we're going to go eat and then we're going to come out of Grand Pavilion. The whole event's going to be in full swing. You'll get to kind of get a taste of everything. Move on. We just timed coming out of Grand Pavilion at the wrong time. It was like the 5 minutes in between where like nothing was going on, and it was like, yeah, this is Boardwalk Nights, and like you just kind of saw the characters like walking to their spots, and I'm like, yeah, that guy's gonna go do the high dive. That they're gonna go sing over there in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So, but it's amazing, and if you're listening to this Saturday morning, get up to the park either tonight or tomorrow night, because that's it until next year, because there's no way they don't bring it back. I gotta think.
I mean, we've seen crazier things, so you never know. But hopefully, I mean, I've heard.
I mean,
all
it's a heck of a
positive
production.
things.
It's a heck of a production. If it, it might prove to be a little too much, because there's a
Right.
lot.
They'll be like, oh, budget cuts and but
Yeah.
let's
So
We'll
other
see.
housekeeping things that we're going to get, us and the park are going to get really annoying about in the next 18 days, 4 hours, 24 minutes, and 53 seconds as we record, is that prices for season passes go up on September 3rd, which is Labor Day. I think it's like you have till Monday night going into Tuesday at midnight is when the prices go up. Like Cedar Fair usually does. I'm sure they're gonna extend the sale,
but you never
to be
know.
safe, just to be safe, that's when prices for season passes go up across the chain. Both a Legacy Cedar Fair and Legacy Six Flags. But yes, I don't think I kind of touched on it last week, but I didn't really say a whole lot because I was by myself. Season passes are on sale now. Just like King's Dominion, like we talked through 2 weeks ago. Sure, we'll go with that. It's all the same rules. If you get the all park passport, you get all your good benefits at your Legacy Cedar Fair parks, and you also get admission and parking at Six Flags Legacy parks, but you don't get your meal plan, your drink plan. That doesn't carry over to Legacy Six Flags parks as of the 2025 season. You don't get into Legacy Six Flags parks until January 6th. Until then, if you buy your pass right now, you get all the Legacy Cedar Fair parks if you buy the all park passport. If you don't buy the all park passport, then you just get Cedar Point for the rest of the year and then all of next year. So prices were just about the same as King's Dominion. I think King's Dominion was like $10-15 cheaper if you got the whole shebang. But you're paying for having Cedar Point as your home park, so that any Cedar Point exclusive events, like say Top Thrill 2 preview day in 2025, wah, only Cedar Point home park people will get into that. So that's kind of your benefit there. And then, like Carson said, as y'all are listening to this, Halloween weekend starts in 26 days. So that
and
is
can I
less
just
than 4
say,
weeks.
I know that I missed I missed last week, but I was like, oh my goodness, Cedar Point extended their season.
Yeah. Did I say that last week?
Yeah, I think you touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Cedar Point extended their season.
And
so did Kings Island.
Yeah. I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Okay, I did talk about this last week. So at the time, Kings Island hadn't officially added it to their calendar yet, but like they had the in-park advertisements were changed. But so since then, so Cedar Point will be open November 1st and 2nd now from 11 a.m. till midnight. So it's a Friday and a Saturday. But then if you're like super crazy, so Cedar Point closes Saturday, November 2nd. The season's done. Nothing on Sunday. But if you're really crazy, you can drive your happy little self down to Cincinnati, and Kings Island is open like 11 to 7 or something on Sunday.
I think I'm a little crazy.
I'm gonna confirm that right now. I should have been typing this already.
Oh my goodness!
Sure I saw that.
If that's true,
it's so tempting. I just don't think I'd be able to pull it off.
Oh man! Although we could possibly pull it off if we decided to say close out Cedar Point and then drive all the way down there and stay the night.
I can't.
Okay, maybe I could pull that off.
I can't do that because I'm gonna be at Cedar Point from 10 a.m. that day. Yeah, Kings Island is open from 11 to 7 on November 3rd. Wow. That is a Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're really crazy, you can get a little extra day there.
Wow. Because that's all the coasters and everything would be open.
Yep. I think I'm gonna have to sit at home and just be jealous.
Yeah, you're gonna have crazy FOMO because I'll be like, "Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
get to ride the beast last Friday of the season."
Hopefully there's a Monsters game or something that day, so I could kind of avoid it. So yeah, that's super cool.
That is really cool. Okay.
I believe November 3rd is the latest closing day between the two parks I've seen in my lifetime. If you count that as closing day.
I don't know for sure because I know that when Paramount, I remember it used to, a little later or a little open a little earlier or something, but that's
really
freaking awesome.
And it's probably really impossible, and we're getting off track here, but whatever. It's probably impossible for especially Kings Island, but in Cedar Point, the weather's so unpredictable. I'd love for them, and I think Jogga Lake used to do this. I'd love for them to, okay, Haunt ended. Let's do like 2 weeks of like Oktoberfest now. Saturdays and Sundays only. Parks open from like noon to 8.
And
do special food, special beer, and the park closes then for the season on November 17th or whatever.
Who's to say this isn't, a test where
it very well could be.
Like,
It very well could be. Kings Island would be tougher because they got to transition to Winterfest, and it's already a tough turnaround. I mean, I think it was probably a hard sell on the events team for them to stay open this extra weekend as it was.
Yeah, they were like, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, that just
interesting. Okay.
Throwing that out there that an Oktoberfest style event would be a win at Cedar Point, especially if the weather's good. And usually it is. I mean, it's no more or less rainy than any other weekend in October could be.
So, now you just jinxed it. Now you just did.
It's calling it now. It's snowing on closing day.
Right. I mean, we've been pretty blessed with all the events that we've had to do that's revolved around weather. At least you and I.
Eclipse Day. We were so scared.
I was so nervous, dude.
Perfect. It was so perfect.
I was so nervous.
Anyways, so Karsten, you weren't here last week. What do you think about what Cedar Fair Legacy Parks announced last week? And I mean, in Kings Island, Carowinds, what do you think about Canada's Wonderland? Oh my God.
Yeah, Alphen Fury, like that. Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
I watched again, I didn't have power, but I was able to watch, the POV on my phone and stuff and everything. And oh my goodness, dude, like it like going around and just flying around the inside and outside of the mountain. And I'm like, dude, I need to go back there for sure next year. I need to go.
So I moved this over the summer, right? And I'm further from Cedar Point than I would like. We've talked about. But by moving further east, I am now closer to Canada's Wonderland that I could almost pull it off in a day trip. I don't want my first trip there to be a day trip.
Yeah.
It's a little rushed. I want to actually enjoy the place. But man, there might be a couple Canada's Wonderlands visit next year because it's probably not going to be my number one favorite ride in the world. But this thing looks amazing.
Yeah.
It came out of left field.
That and also like the manufacturer, I was like, Premier Rides. I was like, really? I was like, if anything, I was thinking either, Intamin. Everyone that's like, oh yeah, the park, the Cedar Fair and blah blah blah, they're done with Intamin. Like, no, they're not.
Six Flags isn't done with Intamin though.
Okay, but they're as a whole now, so obviously
exactly. But no, it's not Intamin. It's not.
Yeah, and I thought if anything I saw, I was like, it's got to be a B&M. There's no way. And then I was
because B&M's making launch coasters now.
Yeah. But I was Premier Rides. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
I think there's a lot of good stuff coming out next year, and we'll get into what the Legacy Six Flags Parks announced today as we're recording. But
164 feet tall, like
Alphen Fury, I think. Sorry, Rapterra, because that also looks amazing. Shout out to King's Dominion. We talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I think Alphen Fury's got to be the number one pick for best new ride next year. Outside of Epic Universe,
I love the name.
I think it's funny.
It's a cool name.
I gotta laugh, and we're not a SeaWorld Parks, or I'm sorry, United Parks podcast, but Busch Gardens Williamsburg has Alpengeist. And it's the same
Right.
damn colors. It's the same colors as Alpen Fury. But then we gotta like, okay, so we Alpen. Oh, what's another Cedar Fair park that's got a really good Carowin? Fury, Alpen Fury.
Oh my.
I don't know. It seems like they spun a wheel, and the name's good. The logo's awesome. The ride's gonna be amazing. The view walking into the park with it coming out of the mountain, just
It's
like
it's huge too. It's not a small little coaster. It's almost 200 feet high.
It's like, and I wonder if it'll be the same way in real life. But just watching the video, it's just so satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. It's so sleek. The colors are really a really good color choice. I mean,
I agree.
the white and the like teal or whatever really clash well with the mountain and the other parks the rest of the parks coasters. I'm so excited for that thing.
And then I was going to say, transitioning a little bit, since again, I'm kind of catching up on everything with Carowinds update. Like you and Kyle pretty much called like what is it like a Camp Snoopy like a redo and or to make it even bigger and better kind of thing. Like I was like, wow.
I think when the three of us were talking about it, not to toot my own horn, but I think I might have said something like, well, what if they did a splash battle? That'd be fun.
That's so cool. Like I want to like obviously like they're gonna have a cool coaster and stuff and everything. It almost kind of gives me like I haven't been on the one at Canada's Wonderland, but it feels almost like Canada's Wonderland ish.
To be a clone. I think it's supposed to be a clone of that one.
I mean it's a kiddie coaster, so like if it's a clone, whatever, like
we'll ride it for the credit, whatever.
Yeah, but if it was like a big monster coaster and it was a clone, I'd be like, But
yeah,
but no, this splash battle, this came out of the woodwork. Holy crap. Like, first of all, we didn't get to talk about this. Cedar Point is closing Snake River Falls. So this got announced and I was like, wait a minute. This could be like where Snake River Falls was if they want to continue.
We might be looking at a smaller scale version of what
maybe. I really want a flume. I still want a flume. I really want a flume. So
but
bad.
I'm telling you, I could already
too.
I can already hear it. You've heard of Snake River Falls. You've heard of Snake River Expedition. Now get ready for Snake River Blasters.
Oh my.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
I will put good money on it.
If you get that, I'm gonna take you out to a steak dinner. Full on, 100% the name. If it comes true, I will buy you, and everybody can hold me to it. I will buy you steak dinner.
All right. So let's see. This is episode 74 on August 15th, 2024.
Yep.
Mark it down. It doesn't have to be next year, just in general.
Yeah.
Snake River Blasters.
Tony's gonna listen to this podcast, or someone from Cedar Point's gonna
change the name. Change the name. Snake River Blasters no more.
Or maybe they're gonna be like, no, we're going to do that. Let's get Evan a steak dinner.
He's gonna be like, he's like, we were gonna call it Snake River Blasters. Now we're gonna call it Snake River Blaster.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for this. I know that the river. I don't know why they ended up like, because I remember Justin and I, we went to and did the one. We didn't ride it, but we did the one at Dollywood to soak a bunch of people, and like we would crank the hose and soak one of the riders, and it was like a cold rainy day and someone was riding it. We soaked the crap out of them. So much fun.
You chose your
exactly. But I'm like, I don't understand why they had such a tiny little, like they were here and then they were gone, and now it's cool that they're coming back, which is freaking awesome.
Six Flags Great America had one, and they got rid of it, and they're replacing it now. But
I wonder if it was like maintenance costs to like keeping those guns like actually going. Possibly, I don't know.
The ones I've seen in the US before that were already removed were bigger models where it's a bigger boat with like 5 guns per side and you're facing outwards, where this one seems like it's only like 2 guns per side, maybe, if the concept art is correct. So maybe that'll be a little easier to maintain, and it The ride itself can be smaller because it's in the kids area, so there's probably less running costs because it's smaller.
Yeah.
Just less water to take care of. I don't know. It's interesting that these things might make a comeback.
I mean, I'm all for it.
Energylandia has 2 of them.
Right. So obviously they're cool. Maybe someone from the Six Flags Cedar Fair team decided to go to Energylandia and go take a chat, be like, oh, check this out. Let's do this.
They're fun. They're fun.
So I'm all for that, especially for cooling off in the summer and whatever, Yeah. Speaking of cooling off, I'm going to roll right into Kings Island's announcement that they did last week. Obviously, again, I'm catching up. For Soak City. Wow. The River Racers.
Ohio has a water coaster now. Well,
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I liked the one. This reminds me of the one that's actually at Holiday World. I can't remember what the name is called.
Cheetah Chase.
That's it. The only thing I'm not a fan of, and Evan, you'll agree with me as well. And maybe we're just being.
We're so being nitpicky.
Whatever. But the thing is they have where when you go, like, it's a different layout. It looks fun. I'm not gonna lie, but the layout. I'm sorry, but when you go, how you get propelled, it's not like magnetics underneath the boat or anything. It's literally the giant. Now maybe they'll have it fine-tuned to where it's not like this, but like at Holiday Worlds, when you get launched and you're like, "Whoa, that was fun!" You're like, "Yeah, I'm soaking wet," and then all of a sudden you get bombarded with water over the top, over your back,
and it's cold,
and it is ice cold. Yeah. So
yeah, I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't ice cold, but so they use water, like a bunch of high pressure water jets to launch your tube.
Very, very high pressure.
And it looks like that's how this is going to work at Kings Island. And it's great. The launch is fun, but then you get to the top of a launch and it's just like Carson said, it's just this wave of water comes from behind you. And I'm sure everybody looks like, well, you're at a water park. What do you expect? You're going to get
No.
This is a ridiculous amount of water.
It's like you can't see, you can't breathe, you can't
yeah. I'm sorry, this is going to sound so disgustingly negative, but it sucks. It is not pleasant. And then so this is what Kings Island has going for it versus Holiday World's ride that has the same launch. Holiday World, by the time you recover from that initial thing, you're going up another launch. And it just happens again. Where Kings Islands, it's just that one, you go down a nice drop and then there's one launch and then it's just a slide after that. So hopefully there's more time to just enjoy the ride. And maybe it's not as ice cold awful.
It's possible that, because I know sometimes Holiday World puts their water tanks like underground, so they don't get to see like, and they just the water just gets reused and things like that through. I'm not 100% sure how long it takes for them the water to move from that the tank to wherever. So maybe they'll have heated water, or maybe they'll have. Or maybe it'll just be like more of an above ground tank and it won't be like ice cold. I don't know. But
I will say I'm nervous because I haven't been to Kings Island. I haven't been to Soak City in a long time. I'm just not a big water park person. But every time I've been there, that water has been ice cold. So
I will definitely ride it. It looks fun.
I'm going to give it a shot. It looks fun. The colors look great. But yeah. Hey, Ohio has a water coaster, and Cedar Point Shores has a spot that is completely primed for a water coaster. So
we got a lot of water stuff possibly, opening up in our future. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, it's cool because they said that there's going to be also like some special effect lighting and effects and things like that in the tunnels, which I was like, ooh, okay, this, I'm all for that. I
feel like that's a concept that's been tried a million times with water slides, and I feel like I'm always underwhelmed, but technology's gotten better and better, so we'll see.
And then obviously, they're obviously adding a giant like splash, like almost looks like a big splash pad that everybody can get like wet and kind of cool off and stuff.
Kids water slides.
Yeah, a bunch of kids. Yeah. And so that'll be really nice. The only thing I'm gonna say, like, obviously the water, but whatever, I can get over that. The only thing I'll gripe about is, and Holiday Worlds is not like this. They got, I guess, the deluxe version. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
Holiday World starts on the ground level. I know where you're going with this, and Holiday World starts on the ground level for this reason.
the only unfortunate thing is if you do want to ride river racers at Kings Island Soak City Water Park, you have to carry your own water tube. Like, you actually have to carry the tube from the ride up the stairs. And I'm like, I remember Holiday Worlds. Now maybe that'll be like dubbed down and not as like beefy, whatever. But like, those things are beefy and heavy looking. So I'm just like, that's just
They're
gonna
not
be,
light.
you know. So
They're not light.
I'm like, can't you
So-
put like a conveyor in there and
Kings Island, if you're listening, we have requests.
warm water and a conveyor, please. If not,
I'm not
guess-
even asking for warm water. I'm just asking for water that like literally doesn't like make me go like cross-eyed. It's so stinking cold. Like, it's to a point where it's like a shock to the system.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
So
come on, Holiday World. But we sound very nitpicky. It'll be
Right.
fun. It's a great addition.
yeah,
It's adding
absolutely.
needed capacity to a very busy water park. So
Yeah, it's definitely going to be needed, and I'm sure a crap ton of people are going to ride that, especially all the
Yeah.
teens like to visit the water park and everything like.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, speaking of new announcements, because these were new announcements for me to talk about, but the new
Yes.
announcements today are from Six Flags, the legacy parks, from Six Flags Great America, and Six Flags
New England.
Yes, Evan, you want to talk a little bit about like what we got to hear and
Yeah. So just like last week, I'm going to kind of start from the lowest and do. So there's only 2 announcements, so I'm going to do like the less exciting announcement first, and then work my way up. Best for last.
in your
Whatever. So Six Flags New England is first up. And I don't remember the last time they got a new coaster from scratch. It could have been Wicked Cyclone in like 2014. So
I have no idea. Yeah.
They're one of the smaller Six Flags legacy parks, and I think at some point we're gonna have to do kind of like a informational podcast, just kind of talking our way through these Six Flags parks. So, because I think most of our
Off-season
listeners are probably more Cedar Fair people and maybe don't know a whole lot about Six Flags parks.
I've been to Six Flags New England, and it's
a fun
actually
park. It's a
it's a
fun
nice
park.
park. They got like
Superman is
Superman.
insane.
Oh, it's like
That's
Millennium
number one.
Force, but like crazy steroids. Like it's got a lot of punch to it for sure.
That's a number one coaster potentially.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at somebody who said, yeah, Superman's my favorite.
Mhm.
Anyways, so they're getting their first new coaster for the first time in a long time. It's called Quantum Accelerator, New England's first dual launch straddle coaster. If you don't know what a straddle coaster is, it's a newish concept that's come out from Intamin. If you've been to Busch Gardens Williamsburg lately, Dark Coaster is an Intamin straddle coaster. If you've been to SeaWorld San Antonio, they have Jet Rescue, I think it's called. That is an Intamin straddle coaster. If you've been to Universal Orlando, the sidecar on Hagrid is very similar to the straddle coaster. It's not the same, but it's similar enough that give you the same idea. So yeah, I think you're riding on a jet ski. That's basically the way that the seating works. It is still a lap bar. It's not any weird, stupid restraint like Tron at Disney. So yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of, just like last week, I'll read through their webpage, but this time I'll actually have somebody to talk to about it. Launching through space and time in 2025 is Quantum Accelerator, New England's first dual launch straddle coaster. Quantum Accelerator is a family-friendly thrill ride with 2 exciting launches, twists and turns, 11 moments of airtime, and speeds up to 45 miles per hour. Quantum Accelerator's backstory: in a quiet, secret transaction, Professor Screammore purchased the tiny town of Crack Axle Canyon. The abandoned Wild West outpost was the perfect hiding place for his laboratory of bizarre inventions. Time travel always fascinated the eccentric inventor. He dreamed of combining old world technologies like steam powered machinery with modern marvels to launch himself back and forth through time, but not straight paths through time. Professor Screamore wanted to travel at high speeds with twists, turns, and lots of ups and downs with airtime. Now the professor is almost ready to reveal his latest creation, Quantum Accelerator. Ready to launch into yesterday and tomorrow, steampunk style? Six Flags parks love the steampunk stuff. So then they kind of talk through the ride experience. Quantum Accelerator propels you into a mind-bending time-space continuum not once, but twice. Unlike traditional roller coasters that start with an uphill climb, Quantum Accelerator launches out of the station from 0 to 30 miles per hour in mere seconds. If that's not enough, midway through the ride, a second thrust of acceleration launches you into the next half of the experience at 45 miles per hour. Quantum Accelerator isn't your everyday time machine or roller coaster. Instead of sitting in a traditional seat, you straddle it and grab handlebars on comfortable coaster cars designed as steampunk-themed hover bikes. This unique feature allows you to lean forward and accelerate into the adventure. Keeping a low physical profile helps you to manage the high-speed launches, tight twists, and bank curves to achieve the maximum adrenaline rush. Then by the numbers, 45 miles an hour is the top speed. It is 2,604 feet. And it's a 2-minute and 14-second ride, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, when I was watching, I was like, wow, that's
it kind of keeps going.
That's a long coaster. I'm like, when's it done? I'm like, oh, it's still going. It's still going. And it's almost like it reminds me almost of Maverick per se, like a terrain coaster where it's like really close to the ground and
the first half of Maverick, but without the inversions.
Right. With no, and it just kind of flying around and just kind of doing its own thing. And I think it's a solid addition.
Oh, it's a perfect addition.
I did want to say though, it is interesting, and I'm not trying to create conflict or whatever, but this might be the first time, at least I think in a while, that Six Flags hasn't really came out with like a theme for like DC Universe or Warner Brothers.
I'm gonna stop you, but you're right and wrong. It's not the first time, but it's been a more recent thing. Jersey Devil at Six Flags Great Adventure. That's kind of they've got, and I think that was, and I think I talked about this a while ago. That I feel like that is them kind of Cedar Fair styling,
like testing the waters and seeing how
can we get away from the DC crap?
Mm-hmm.
And I love just actually putting some sort of thought and theme into something instead of just Batman, sure.
right. Oh yeah. It's got like if anyone wants to see these videos and everything, go to the Six Flags websites and go check out the new for
2025. Six Flags New England's Twitter is your best spot for Quantum Accelerator. They have a POV and an off ride.
I love the name. It's a cool name, like Quantum.
Yeah, I feel like when we're at Cedar Point, we never say, hey, let's go ride Magnum XL 200. We always just say Magnum. We never say, let's go ride Millennium Force, which is let's go ride Millennium.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ride Quantum Accelerator. It just does. I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't roll off the tongue right.
Or you could just be like, let's go ride Quantum. I mean, I don't know, or Accelerator, whatever.
I feel like it's gonna end up being Accelerator.
Or let's just go ride the orange one. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, it sounds like it might have a little bit of a good theme. It sounds like the Q line will probably have a little bit of theme going on, kind of like Iron Menace.
Yeah.
And Copperhead Strike is the other one I always go to.
I was just saying the reason I did bring that up though, like the no DC and no like Marvel, or I'm sorry, no Warner Brothers and things like that, is last week, we had, Carowinds, and they were like, oh, by the way, we're doing a Camp Snoopy. Snoopy. So if they're continuing to roll out a lot of Snoopy stuff, I mean, obviously, why would you keep building it and making?
You're just going to change it into Bugs Bunny.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like, I think we've talked about this, in my opinion, I really think that they're going to keep both of them, and they're going to keep both of them separate, just because it almost feels like it's like the same company. And I'm trying to think of like a company that like, I can't think of a company, but there's a company out there that I can't think of that literally is two companies in one. And it's like, oh, I had no idea that they were owned by that company, kind of thing. And
Mhm.
you just kind of get that feel to where you get
I
that Six
know.
Flags feel, but they're gonna change it to where it's gonna be more immersive, more dining, more just uh, better customer service, and
Just more
just
first class.
yeah, they're just gonna raise that bar so much higher. And oh boy, when Cedar Fair execs, Six Flags execs, the whatever Legacy Cedar Fair execs do that, boy, oh boy, is that money going to come rolling in, man. It's just going to be, I
Mhm.
don't care if the pass is $600. I don't care. Like, I know that I'm going to get a premium version. It's nice to now have, like, quote unquote, a new feel, Cedar Fair Six Flags feel to my old Six Flags park that was kind of dumpy and meh. And now
Sorry,
it's,
Six Flags.
yes. I mean, it is what it is what it is. And
Yeah. Well, and you see
within the
these Six
past few
Flags
years,
parks
it's been like
are
that.
you
So
see these Six Flags parks are trying to fix themselves up. I mean, Six Flags America, they just out of nowhere this last year was like, hey, we're gonna take this like basically abandoned part of our park and we're gonna totally retheme it. We're gonna add a new ride, we're gonna repaint everything, we're gonna put new dining, we're gonna put new theme. That's the Cedar Fair popping through.
yeah,
And
it's
that's
great.
that
It's
that's the
good.
good thing about this
If
merger.
we want these parks to be around and exist and whatever, it needs to happen. Or I'm sorry, like if you're like, Cedar Fair bought Six Flags and you're ruining Six Flags. No. It needs to happen because
Oh,
we
remember
saw what was
everybody thinks Six
happening. Their
Flags is
attendance
gonna
figures were going down for Six Flags like
Mhm.
crazy, and they were losing money. Like obviously, if they're starting to lose money and everything else, like they're going to be hemorrhaging cash, and they're going to be like, well, we got to sell some parks or close some parks because we
Mhm.
can't continue to do this forever. It's not just like an unlimited piggy bank. So sorry.
I it's I know I've said it a million times, but it's you're going to see the Cedar Fair bleed into Six Flags. You're not going to see the Six Flags bleed into Cedar Fair.
Yep.
You're going to see the more, immersive theme. And I'm not talking Universal level. I'm not talking Disney level, but you're going to see more immersive themed lands come to Six Flags, like this new area at Six Flags New England, like what Six Flags America did. You're not going to see Raptor get renamed to Batman. Okay. Like it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's because people like this immersive theme because it's more than just you're here to ride our rides and go home.
Right.
Cedar Point has and Kings Island and Carowinds and Kings Dominion, they've they've made it more than just that. Where Six Flags was still just kind of like
And I
meh.
feel like I feel like they're like see like okay, let's just all right. We'll pull the curtain all the way back. I feel like and I apologize to whoever's listening. I feel like Cedar Fair is going to take Six Flags to a whole different level to where they've got so much potential to where
Mhm.
Six Flags, the bigger Six Flags parks that we had before this whole merger and everything, could have hotels. Like,
Mhm.
oh my God, there's like you could, and if you keep
You're
the
making them
DC characters
destinations.
and everything, you literally can make it a destination. You could have Bugs Bunny. You could have so much, but I could see it. I could just see the diamond in the rough where it's just like we just got to get past this. We got to do this. We got to change the dining. We got to, up our the food game and things like that. And good things are just gonna come. I mean, honestly,
I think so.
yeah. So
And
sorry, a
I
little
mean, you
tangent.
already see it. I mean, okay, two Six Flags parks already announced new coasters. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's move on to the second one because this is obviously the big one.
Yes.
The other contender for best new ride, I think, with Rapterra and Alpine Fury, again, outside of Epic Universe. That's just a whole nother story. um, so I apologize if I mess up the pronunciation. I have not heard the actual pronunciation from the park at all. I haven't seen it. I've only seen this written in on Twitter and on their website. So Six Flags Great America has unveiled a new B&M dive machine called Wrath of Rakshasa. I
I think that's
think that
close.
is
Yeah.
how it's
I think that's
pronounced.
it. If it's
Rakshasa.
not, we're wrong.
I sure. We'll go with that. But yeah, it's a B&M dive machine with and I'm gonna go I'm just like the last one, I'll read through everything. But it's the steepest drop on a dive machine. It is the most inversions on a dive machine. And
if anybody doesn't know what a dive machine is, that's pretty much
Valraven.
Just to
Or Iron Menace too.
yes.
So this is going to be located near in the park near the current Demon roller coaster. It's kind of got the whole creepy demon vibe going with it, even though it's like happy blue and yellow. It's not like creepy colors. I don't know. The colors look good.
D&M's like, we've got extra blue track. How can we sell this?
When we put up Phoenix Rising, we thought it was going to be bigger, so we have all this extra blue track.
Yeah, like
yeah, whatever. I like the colors. Just doesn't.
I do like the
whatever.
colors. Yes.
I'm just nitpicking. It's just funny. So I have to say that word a lot of times here, so bear with me. Fear the Wrath. Fear the Wrath as you prepare to take on Six Flags Great America's all new attraction for 2025. Wrath of Rakshasa, the steepest and most inverted dive coaster in the world. That's a weird way of putting it. As you rise, the air grows thick with anticipation, and whispers of Rakshasa lurking within will send shivers down your spine, towering ominously at an impressive 180 feet. That's pretty darn tall. That's going to stick out big time at this park because
it's definitely going to change
the height.
It's definitely going to change the skyline for sure.
Yeah. This dive coaster invites you to ascend into the shadows before surrendering to a heart-stopping 171-foot drop at a record-breaking beyond vertical 96 degrees that feels like a descent into the abyss. For reference, 90 degrees is straight down. Maverick is 95 degrees. So this is 1 degree more than Maverick.
I wonder if it's going to have that feel of like throwing you out. Like, remember,
I'm very curious.
You ride on the very back of a Maverick, you feel like you're getting thrown forward. I wonder if you're going to feel that. That'll be interesting.
I haven't ridden Iron Menace yet, but that also has a beyond vertical drop. I think it's like 91 degrees though. So I'm curious if that does it because it's the same style, it's the same train as Wrath of Rakshasa. So,
if you're not driving and you're just listening to this podcast at home, every time Evan has to say that word, take a shot either of alcohol or a shot of whatever your favorite beverage is, because this is fun.
We'll say every time I butcher the pronunciation of it. I think I've already said it 3 different ways. I'm sorry, but the general public,
they're literally people are listening to you Saturday morning. They're screaming in the car. No, it's called this.
Well, listen, remember when Rougarou was announced? And I mean, we didn't really quite know. I had to think about it at the time. But the general public still doesn't know how to pronunciate that right.
Rougarou.
Like, and that is not even anywhere near as difficult as this.
Right. You're doing a great job. Continue.
People at Six Flags, they're going to be like, Wrath of the blue one. Let's go ride the blue one.
Maybe that's why
they made it blue, because it's the only blue coaster in the park. Anyways, as the world's most inverted dive coaster, which again, that's weird phrasing, as the world's dive coaster that has the most inversions, Wrath of Rakshasa sends you into a whirlwind of 5 inversions that will test your limits and leave you breathless. Reach speeds of nearly 67 miles per hour as you race through the Demon's Lair, soaring through 3,239 feet of steel track. Feel the adrenaline coursing through your veins as you navigate the sinister design crafted to both thrill and terrify. Gather your bravest companions and prepare to confront the demon that awaits. Wrath of Rakshasa. I keep wanting to say Rakasha. I don't know why. That's what wants to come out.
I actually just want to say Hakuna Matata, but when you say it. So.
Jesus. Wrath of Rakshasa promises an unforgettable experience that will test your courage and leave you breathless. Step into the darkness, embrace the fear, and make memories that will leave you screaming for more. Your twisted adventure is just a dive away. I got 2 more. Wrath of Rakshasa highlights. 3 sleek trains with 3 rows of Carson's just laughing.
I can't stop you.
With 3 rows of passengers seated 7 across. That is the same as Iron Menace. And Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. 3,239 feet of soaring track. Thrilling anticipation while the ride vehicle pauses in a face-first cliffhanger hold before plummeting 171 feet. A beyond vertical 96-degree drop. 5 gravity-defying inversions, which they don't really go into detail on what those inversions are. There's a good just picture of the layout. I'll talk through that in a sec. Speeds of 67 miles per hour. And Wrath of Rakshasa is a custom designed dive roller coaster created by Bollinger and Mabillard of Cedar Point fame for sure, with Gatekeeper and Valraven and Rougarou and Raptor. So yeah, you go up this hill, you dive, there's an Immelman inversion, and then there's a dive loop inversion. And then basically with twists and turns in between, there's basically 3 like barrel rolls. Think different. They're all a little bit different from each other, but think the last inversion on Valraven, just kind of different variations of that. Might turn a different way one time, and then it might kind of draw out a little bit more another time, and another time it might be a little bit more snappy. Go to Six Flags Great America's website and go. It's kind of hard to find. You have to just go to like their rides and attractions page and just click all rides, and it'll be the first one. It's not like on their homepage or anything, which is kind of dumb, but okay.
Maybe they
forgot. Yeah, they forgot they announced it.
They're like,
but yeah, it's the one thing that sticks out, especially to me, is it's got 3 trains, but there's no mid-course brake run. So this is a long ride. This is the longest dive coaster without a mid-course. And so it's got this. This might be the best dive coaster.
When I was watching the POV, quote me if I'm wrong, and I feel like I'm wrong. Is this the first dive coaster that doesn't go like a full like almost like 90 degrees on the top?
This one has a little like dog leg turn. Iron Menace just goes straight. Iron Menace just goes straight over.
Oh, does it really?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
And I think there's one in a couple in Europe that do that.
Okay, because I know that like normal older
SheiKra and Valraven and Griffin,
they always had like that
turn.
90-degree, and then it was like,
And I think that's something Iron Menace kind of lacks, because I feel like that builds the anticipation.
Because you're up there and you're just like, hanging out, and you have to take the turn, and
Or maybe, and I haven't ridden Iron Menace yet, but maybe you get to that top of that lift hill and you just see nothing, and it's like, oh, okay.
And this has like over the edge, and
this has like a little dog leg turn, so it's not just straight, but it's also not a complete big turn. This is gonna be a good ride. This is gonna be a really good ride.
The go-karts, I know a lot of people, not really our listeners, I don't think, but a lot of people were wondering if the go-karts were going to actually be sticking around, and they actually are. I watched I don't know, at like 5 a.m, there was like a small little news crew that was there, and I was watching, and they were like, they had like a little announcement and stuff, and I was like, oh, and they were like, and yes, the go-karts are staying, and I was like, oh, they were very adamant about that. So I was like, okay, well, that's cool.
And I mean, I think this is like, that's a good news that the go-karts are staying, because that's just more room in the future.
Yeah.
They're not going to stay forever.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people always said, oh, they're going to get rid of their go-karts and put a dive coaster there. Well, now they didn't do that. So
I'm not going to lie.
What else can they do?
I didn't think this park had a whole lot of room left. And they're just like, oh, hey, by the way, we're building almost the 4,000 foot coaster length. And we're also, by the way, when because you said it was going to be like a dive coaster, and I was like, okay. I kind of pushed that off, and I was like, it's probably going to be like I think I said it was like an S&S Access or something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool,
right? The thing is I was like, okay, so if it's going to be a dive coaster, it'll probably be like, I don't know, 150, 140 feet. Holy crap, I wasn't expecting 180 feet.
Yeah, like this thing's big.
It's going to be huge.
SheiKra at Busch Gardens is 200.
It's going to be huge.
Man,
it's going to be freaking huge.
I'm watching the video, and the third inversion. So you got the Immelman and then the dive loop. But then you have, it's a barrel roll of some sort, but I don't even know how to explain it. You got to watch the video. It's shaped very weird, and it's very snappy.
Well, and
It's,
like you said, there's no mid-course brake run, and you're going what 67 miles an hour,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
that's
This
you're
thing's
going to be
gonna
flying.
fly.
And
This is
if you watch the POV, you can almost see that it's also kind of close to the ground too. So it's gonna
yeah.
feel fast because you're not like high up.
I
you
like
know.
the end of the ride because there's just a lot of turns and stuff near the end. Their website doesn't have just a POV. I'm wondering if YouTube does.
Maybe there's
But
someone
yeah,
that
this just like Six Flags New England. Obviously, there's a lot of potential for queue theming, just like Six Flags Parks has been doing lately. So
and this is great. Like I like Six Flags Great America. If anybody
I like that park
doesn't
a
know
lot.
where it's at, it's literally I think like an hour away, like from Chicago and stuff. Like
If even that.
it's not far from us, like from in Ohio. Plus you also
It's
gain an
it's like
hour.
6.5 hours from Cedar Point.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a good little, hey, we're kind of bored of Cedar Point. Let's go check out a new, we got the all park passport, for next year. Like go check this park out. Six Flags Great America. I really like it. They've got a really cool RMC coaster called Goliath there. That's one of the almost original per se RMCs that kind of almost got the ball rolling. And
That was my first RMC.
it's a good little park. It's not a big park.
They fit a lot in there.
Little park. They definitely do. Yeah, for sure. Oh man.
I mean, so and just going forward, so they still have the area where the go-karts are to expand. I mean, that'll be a new coaster eventually. I think they're supposedly getting rid of their Rapids ride. That hasn't been like confirmed yet, but just like
That'll
any
be
park
huge.
that has
Yeah.
a Rapids ride, that opens up a lot of land once they do get rid of it.
Right.
So Six Flags Great America should definitely be on all of your radars for the next couple of years because it's really a good park. Goliath, their B&M Hypercoaster, Raging Bull, Max Force is probably the most intense launch coaster out there.
Oh my gosh.
If you miss Top Thrill Dragster's launch, go ride Max Force.
Yeah, it's actually launched by the makers of Power Tower.
Yes, it's just straight air that launches you, and that is probably the most crazy launch.
It sounds
I preferred that launch over Dragster while Dragster was still in operation.
It almost sounds like a giant jet engine that's about to take off when it like launches. It's like, and
it shakes the ground when it.
Yeah. But by the way, that was their last coaster, right? Their last addition to the park was that, right? No,
it was 2019. That was 2019. Yeah, that was their last coaster.
It came in 20. Are you sure it came in 2019? I don't think it came. I think it came before 2019. I feel like it was like 2017.
No, my buddy Cam and I went there in 2017, and that was my first ride on it.
I thought it was a few years before COVID, like even was a thing.
Nope. Here we go. Wikipedia. It opened July 4th, 2019.
Okay, cool. Because I just changed it to 2019. I'm just kidding. But okay, all right, fair. Well, that's a fun, intense, short but fun ride. Yeah,
that's an insane ride. And I mean, okay, like most Six Flags parks, they have a Batman clown. They got a Superman clown.
I like their Batman. I do.
All the Batman clones ride a little differently, and that one's one of the good ones. The New Jersey one sucks.
I don't think that Batman ride. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been at the park, and I'm thinking probably of a different Six Flags. I was like, that Batman ride in the queue doesn't have the hot box, does it?
I think it does.
So
those queue lines are miserable.
So for anyone like this was like Six Flags that didn't really, they were just trying to make a crap ton of thrills in the 90s and not really care about anything. They literally don't even have a fan, but like there's this really, really hot metal box like in the summertime that if you don't have some water with you, you might pass out because it gets really, really hot. Now
that's just theming going to the Bat Cave. Shut up.
I don't know for sure. Maybe they've added fans since it's been a few years since I've been there. So hopefully they added some fans, but that's why I call it the hot box. But
God, those Batman rides are awful queue lines.
Yeah,
awful.
Yeah, it's literally like if you get like I don't know, one of those temporary metal shack sheds things, whatever, and you're just like, You know,
Mhm.
put a little walkway through it, and that's about it. Put some stairs.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's Cedar Fair will hopefully help Six Flags a
Oh
little.
yes, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, anyways, Six Flags Great America is an awesome park, and they're getting another awesome coaster. Um, I worry about when Six Flags parks make announcements because it's like, okay, when's it actually going to open?
Right.
But with Cedar Fair being involved now, Top Thrill 2 aside, their rides open on time. They're ready to go. No pun intended with the ready to go. Ha 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 ha. So I have hope that Wrath of Rakasha, whatever the stupid name is, Rakasha, whatever, um, will be open and ready to go. They said today in their press conference their goal is Memorial Day. I think their goal should be earlier than that, but here we are. I mean, this probably wasn't a Cedar Fair thought, you know.
Yeah, no, they got a lot of footers for sure that they got
They've
to
been
do.
they've
They
been
got a lot of
moving,
work to do
so
for sure. So
they just finished ripping out the previous ride that was there. So this is kind of a mix of a Cedar Fair and a Six Flags project. I think at this point,
I could see that.
I don't see. So I think this is probably still running on a Six Flags timeline potentially.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
B&M is really good at what they do, so there won't be any crazy holdups, I don't think, with this ride.
Yeah, before the merger, this was going to be called Batman 3.0, and now Cedar Fair's like, no.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest with, even though there's already a Goliath in that park, this ride would have been perfect to be named Goliath. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah, yeah. Or what's the other god besides Goliath? Isn't there
they could
starts with an
probably
H? Well, maybe Hercules.
Hercules,
Maybe, yeah. You could go.
Hades, Zeus. Well, now we're just getting into Mount Olympus. That park, they already got all those. That's
Oh
a
yeah,
very
they're probably trademarked too. They're like, well,
Hey, and hey, if you're at Six Flags Great America, Mount Olympus isn't that far. That's a very underrated park. If you like wooden coasters that beat the hell out of you, really beat the hell out of you, it's such
But
a
that's
weird,
not my all
stupid
park. My
park.
all park passport's not going to get me into that.
Dude, I'm not even kidding you. It's $8 to get into that park.
Yeah, until someone
So
goes there. Like,
take
hey,
that
Evan,
for what
it
it's
was
worth.
$80.
No, I take that for what it's worth, though, about that park.
Right, $8 for a reason. No, I need to go over there because plus, I mean, once you get up there, you're in the Dells area. You can go check out
That's
the
so
big
fun.
all the water parks up there, and oh man, we're just going on a
Mount
tangent.
Olympus is interesting. It's fun, but don't expect a lot. And Hades will try to kill you. Not actually, but whew, it's rough.
Fair enough. Fair
It
enough.
is rough.
By the way, I don't know. I would assume we're probably going to record next week. We'll see. It just
I
depends
wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into it.
on the news, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of news. I know
Well,
we're going to be traveling a little bit, so
yeah, well, let's put it this way. If we record next week, it's going to not be, Kyle's not going to be here again, because he doesn't have any of his recording equipment here in Ohio. And we're going to be embarking on a trip to me, you, Kyle, and some of our other friends are going to be embarking on a trip to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and we're going to stop at Kings Dominion as well. A week from now, as we record, Thursday night next week, the 22nd, is when we're leaving. So it's going to be a little tough to record next week. So we might not get a recording in. I would say probably not. But then after that, we'll be back the following week with a bunch of talk about, well, Busch Gardens, even though it's not a Six Flags
maybe
Entertainment Corporation.
be open by then. Maybe not. I don't know.
And then, but then we'll get to talk about Kings Dominion a little bit. I think that's only like the second time any of us have been to Kings Dominion since we started doing this podcast. So,
yeah. And then we could also give like maybe a little bit of a preview for, Cedar Hollow weekends. Well, that as well, because Hollow weekends is upon us. So,
well, you know what's wild? So when we record again, if we don't record next week, so say 2 weeks from now, Kyle will be getting ready to go to Halloween Horror Nights for opening night. And then the following week, you and I will be getting ready to get on separate planes. We're not actually going together, but we're going the same weekend. It feels like we're always in Florida the same weekend together. to go to Halloween Horror Nights ourselves. And then Halloween weekend starts. This is crazy. Like there's not a lot of time left this year.
Yeah, it's definitely flying by for sure. Evan, you wanna close this out, and then I'll close this out after that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was nice to have somebody to talk to this week. But so as always, thanks for listening. Talk to you maybe next week, maybe not, probably not, but definitely 2 weeks from now we'll talk to you about Busch Gardens, Kings Dominion, and anything else that happens.
Yeah, and also make sure that you follow us and rate us, and that you share us with all of your friends and your coworkers. And we love to hear from you guys. Thanks for listening to another episode, and we will talk to you guys maybe next week, if not the week after. Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Rundown on Fun. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Cedar Fair. As always, be kind to your ride operators, and we will see you on the Midway. Good night.